This episode of Evol and RC is brought to you by Vanquish Products and Harley Designs. What's up, guys? Evol here. Hey, I was just in the shop doing a little bit of wrenching and just kind of replacing some parts, and it occurred to me that I had something that was a pretty decent illustration that might make for kind of an informative video. So just going to do a little quickie here, show you that, and then show you a couple of new cool pieces I got from VP. So let's check out what we got here. Alright, so any of you guys who've torn apart an Axial axle, this should look pretty familiar to you. This is just the stock locker that comes in an Axial RTR or even kit. This one's pretty worn. It's got some corrosion and stuff going on. But what I wanted to point out was this in here, this is the actual locker. This is the, if I can get it to come out. Maybe I can't. This is the this is the Axial HD locker. This is their second generation locker, and they call it the HD locker, the heavy duty locker. It is a solid metal piece, and I happen to have, this is a Gen 1 Axial locker, and it was an aluminum alloy. These hold up okay. I've ran these for quite a while, but this aluminum, if you put it in a high horsepower application, the axle can deform and twist itself actually inside that locker. So to come up with a solution, Axial put out the HD locker, which is this unit here. And this one is actually made of steel as opposed to aluminum, but it is what they call centered, or it's basically a molded or kind of a cast piece. It's just, they compress it together with heat, and it's a little bit stronger, but not as strong as a piece that is machined from a solid piece of steel. So these hold up pretty good, but you can see it still sits inside of a plastic housing. So high horsepower applications, I've seen these tabs actually break. It can malform this plastic piece and actually partially twist it inside there. So for most application this works pretty good, especially on stock horsepower. But if you're going to a high horsepower application, such as some of these beastly motors like the Tekin Pro 4 and some of these other long can high torque motors, I recommend you move up to this piece from Vanquish. This is, well, let me do this. This is a Axial ring gear and Vanquish locker, and these are a two-piece locker. The outside of the locker is aluminum, but the inside of it is a machined piece of steel. This is the inside piece, and what this does is gives you much greater strength to withstand all that rotational torque that a high horsepower application can put on it. And you may be asking, well, why is part of it aluminum? The idea is, if you look at this side, you can see there's an O-ring, and then in this piece you can see there's an O-ring down in there. The idea is that this locker actually floats inside of that aluminum, and this is going to allow you just to hold a lot more horsepower. And the feature that this gives you additionally over stock units are, this is actually a, well, I have it twisted wrong. This is actually a locking differential, or not a differential, but a locking center locker. You can see that there's some holes in there. And basically what that allows you to do is, when you install this in your axle and you put an axle in there, this allows you to clamp down, get to the right side, clamp down on the actual axle itself, and what that does is take all that rotational slop out of it. And the idea with the floating locker is that when you've done that, these bolts will put pressure on that axle, and in a non-floating locker that will cause stiffness through part of the rotation in the locker. It'll spin, and then you'll hit a stiff spot and then spin. The idea is that the floating locker has give in it to take that out laterally, to absorb a little bit of shock, and when you tighten down on it, it actually pushes the axle a little bit to one side. That allows that to give a little bit so that you do not have as much bind in the axle. But the tolerances are very tight rotationally, so that forward and aft you have a nice solid engagement. When you have those axles locked in there, it only increases that. So a much improved unit going over stock. Like I say, highly recommended if you're going to go with some type of high horsepower application, or if you're doing like some sportsman shaft comping. You'll want that to take the rollback, take all that slack out of your drivetrain. Really cool piece. So anyway, just wanted to illustrate that for you guys, show you what the differences were and why you should run it. And yeah, let's move on. And another cool thing I have in the shop today is just something I want to show you guys. And this is really pretty fitting for me because just recently I kind of scratch built a Wraith, and I bet I had to buy probably half the hardware just from online vendors, and that gets pricey really fast. I bet I spent close to $30 or $40 just on hardware to bolt the thing back together. And if you price the screw kits from, you know, RC Screws and things like that, you know, they're $30, $35 for a stainless screw kit. And if you buy from McMaster, you're buying in bulk, and that gets pricey really fast too. But Harley Designs actually put together this screw kit. Papio. Oh, let's get it in the right place. It's an 800-piece stainless screw kit, all metric, all perfect for our crawler and RC applications. It's in limited quantities right now, so head out to facebook.com/Harley Designs or just contact Harley at rccrawler.com to order up a set. So here's what you get for your 25 bucks. There's 800 pieces of stainless metric hardware. Great just to keep on hand. You know, most people keep hardware boxes, or if you're, you know, putting a kit together, this is a cheap way to do it and have lots of extra hardware. So highly recommended. Check it out. Let's see what else we have cool here floating around the shop. This I just got in from BP. I was just foaming at the mouth to get my hands on these, as well as most of the crawler community, but anyway, I'm gonna stop blabbing. Here they are. These are the Vanquish Products KMC license XD795 beadlock wheel. 2.2 size wheel. As you can see, it's on my Wraith. Of course, Vanquish fully billet aluminum, extremely tough, extremely scale. That's the crazy thing about these, is the amount of realism they went into. When you actually build these, you have to install all of these bolts that make it seem like a scale beadlock, which is quite time consuming, but I know for you guys out there who are into, you know, crazy scale building, it's not going to be a big deal to invest an hour or so putting a set of wheels together. You can see they're laser engraved on the actual, I don't know what you call that, axle cover. And then it uses the SLW hub, so you have a 6-piece or six lug design. So really cool. And these are part of the SSZ family of wheels, which means it is a true beadlock, but it is only a 3-piece design as opposed to 4, like a traditional beadlock. Anyway, I wanted to show those to you guys. Those just came out. Really exciting because KMC is an industry leader in wheels, and Vanquish is really excited to be working with them, as well as some other you know, one-to-one manufacturers. So you're going to be seeing a lot more cool scale accessories that, you know, look a lot more like the real deal coming out in the near future. So alright, well, that pretty well wraps it up. I want to thank Harley Designs and Vanquish Products for sending me this stuff over to show you guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.